Right now, roughly a third of all humans on Earth have a parasite living in their brain. You probably picked it up from a litter box, or a cat at a friend's place, or a steak that was a little pink in the middle. You don't feel it. You never will. But in some animals, this parasite does something disturbing. It changes something. Not what they think or what they know, but what they want. Which raises a very uncomfortable question. When you take a risk, when you drive a little too fast, when you say yes to something that scares you, is that really you making the decision, or is something else in the room? Okay, so the parasite is called Toxoplasma gondii, single-celled, microscopic, and it has a problem. It can only reproduce in the gut of a cat. That's the only place. So if Toxoplasma is sitting inside a rat, it needs that rat to end up inside a cat. In 2007, a neuroscientist named Robert Sapolsky at Stanford figured out how it pulls this off. Normally, rats are terrified of cat urine. They smell it, they run. You can take a rat that has never seen a cat in its life, put cat pee in its cage, and it bolts. Unless the rat is infected with Toxoplasma, infected rats walk toward the smell. Sapolsky scanned their brains, and what he found was insane. The parasite wasn't just removing the fear. The same brain regions that should be firing fear were firing sexual attraction instead. The rat isn't just unafraid of the cat, it's drawn to it, which is exactly what Toxoplasma needs. For the rat to be slow, curious, to walk right up. So the cat eats it. So the parasite gets back into the only place it can finish its life cycle. Now you might say, fine, rats are small. Rat brains are simple, none of this should matter for humans. That was the assumption for decades. Then people started checking. A Czech scientist named Jaroslav Flegr looked at car accidents. Drivers who were infected with Toxoplasma were 2.5 times more likely to be in a crash, not slightly more, 2.5 times. He confirmed it in 2009 with a study of almost 4,000 military drivers. Other studies kept finding the same pattern. Infected people scored higher on impulsivity, higher on aggression, higher on risk-taking, and in 2018, a different group of researchers looked at entrepreneurship across multiple countries. People exposed to Toxoplasma were more likely to study business, more likely to start their own company, more likely, in some of the data, to choose risk over safety. Which is a strange thought, because we usually think of risk-taking as identity, as ambition, as courage, as personality. But what if a small part of that feeling is biology wearing a motivational hoodie? What if the voice saying, do it, take the risk, isn't entirely yours? And here's the part that's hard to shake. In 2013, a team at Berkeley ran the rat experiment with one extra step. After the rats lost their fear of cats, the researchers cleared the parasite from their bodies, used medication, the whole thing. The infection was gone. The fear didn't come back. Whatever Toxoplasma did to those brains, it stayed. The parasite left a fingerprint. Something had been rewritten, and it didn't unwrite when the cause left, like something walked through the room, moved the furniture, and left. Now, I want to be fair here. The science on humans is genuinely contested. In 2025, a different team ran a much more careful genetic analysis, something called Mendelian randomization, and the results came back null. They couldn't find a clean causal link in humans, so it's possible the correlations are real, but driven by something else. Maybe people who eat undercooked meat are already more impulsive. Maybe owning cats correlates with a kind of life that leads to more car accidents anyway. We don't know yet, honestly. What we do know is this. We have a parasite that we've watched rewire rodent brains in extraordinary specific ways. We know it infects roughly a third of the human population. We know it lives in our brains for the rest of our lives once it gets in, and we still can't say exactly what it does once it's there. Here's what bothers me about this. Whether or not Toxoplasma is steering you, the question it raises doesn't go away. Your gut bacteria can vote on what you want for dinner. Hormones from your thyroid can change your confidence. Genes you inherited from a great-grandmother you never met shape parts of your personality before you ever get a say. Old viruses sit inside your DNA. Sleep changes your morality. Hunger changes who you become in traffic. When you make a decision today, it'll feel simple. It'll feel like I chose this. But you is a committee. A noisy little meeting of cells, chemicals, memories, instincts, microbes, and ancient accidents. Most of the time, they agree enough to let you feel like one person. But sometimes, one of them raises its hand, and we just can't tell which one is voting. If this got under your skin a little, good. That's the point. This channel is about all the things inside you that are older than you. Your cravings, your fears, your memory, your sense of pain. Almost none of it is as much you as it feels. Subscribe if you want to keep pulling on that thread, because this is only one of the things quietly shaping who we are.